when I was in high school, famously, I wouldn't read the assignment, but the teacher thought I had. Now that the most difficult one was that book report that I wrote based on you telling me about of Mice and Men.
Yeah.
The easiest ones were every time I'd go to class, okay, you were to have read this book and now we're going to discuss. And I would have not read the book, but I would just listen to the conversation for the first 10 minutes or so, and I would always have something to respond, right? I would always be able to jump in and say, well, do you really think that's what they were going for? Or were they maybe trying to this or that and the other thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Toward the end of the year, I was talking to the teacher about making up an assignment that I had missed. And he's like, well, I'm going to go ahead and let you because you always come to class prepared. You always do the reading ahead of time and participate in the discussions. I'm like, that's right. Little did I know, 30 some odd years later, I'd be doing a whole show based on that.
Speaking of that, I'm Paul.
I'm Steve.
And this is Check Your Shelf.
We don't know anything for a fact.
Clint Walker.
Except that bulldozer kills.
Carl Betts. 2 men dead. The survivors watch an unmanned bulldozer continue its rampage. Killdozer.
Somebody get that cat off that mat.
All right. Well, yes, again, it's not Dressed Like Your Dad Day. By the way, I'm going to link that of Mice and Men video at the end of this video because it has like 7 views. And we put a lot of work into it. But speaking of putting a lot of work into things, today we're going to talk about Killdozer.
Nice.
With an exclamation point by Theodore Sturgeon.
Not
First,
the
a little
band,
background.
Not the movie.
Yeah. Yes. Although we can talk about the movie a little bit because the movie scared the crap out of like 6-year-old me. I used to go to my grandma's house on the weekends a lot, and good Christian woman that she was, she loved monster movies. And that was the era of the movie of the week, and there was a lot of like horror movies. You know, that was the era of the Night Stalker. That was the era of not the Night Stalker, but Night Stalker, Carl Kolchak. That was the era of Richard Matheson, you know, Trilogy of Terror, all that stuff. So I watched all that stuff, and Killdozer and the car traumatized me.
What's the one with the truck that was the possessed truck?
Well, you're thinking of Duel, but it wasn't possessed. Yeah. It was just driven by a homicidal maniac.
There was one that was possessed, and I'm not sure what that one was called.
If you know what it is, let us know down below. Anyway, so lo and behold, I found out much later. First of all, back to the movie. The movie's ridiculous. Like, I watched it as an adult, and I'm like, I was terrified of a vehicle that was going to run me down, that all I'd have to do is this. Because they, unlike in the story, the bulldozer, the number 7, moved like a regular bulldozer. It didn't have superhuman powers like Daisy Etta does in this story. Anyway, this was Killdozer was written in the 50s, and it was like the only thing Sturgeon had wrote like in 10 years. And reportedly, he wrote it in 11 days. And I always call BS, and I know we've talked about this. No, you didn't. You were writing that thing for months. Because the thing about this, and we'll get to the plot. The thing about this is, dude had to have spent time on a construction site with these big machines to understand the lingo. This book, the story we'll call it a novella. I think it's like 70 to 90 pages. I call that a novella.
Its mama called it a novella. Its daddy called it a novella. I'm going to call it a novella.
I'm glad you said it. it gets criticized because Sturgeon was he was a little more of like a, for lack of a better word, like a poetic writer. And they talk about how Killdozer lacks his flair. I'm calling shenanigans on that because if you
get your
read
brooms, we're calling
yes,
shenanigans. Sorry.
if you read it and pay attention to how he describes the dudes jumping up on the machines and starting them and pulling this and pulling that, there's a rhythm to it. It's one of the best short stories I've ever read, novellas that I've ever read. But basically, if you haven't seen the movie or read the story, I'll give you a little quick rundown. It's like the middle of World War II. This construction crew, private construction crew, gets dropped off on this remote island in like the South Pacific to set up an airstrip, and they've got like 4 or 5 weeks to do it. And that would be no problem. They can do that with their hands tied. They can do that, in half the time. But what they didn't expect was what they found on the island. There's like an ancient like temple full of this weird cosmic energy. So this is almost cosmic horror, by the way. It's cosmic horror adjacent. So there's this the big number 7 that the one of the crews who speaks Spanish calls it Daisieta. So the whole time you're reading this book, you've got and then Daisieta came barreling over the hill. It's a great juxtaposition. Which, by the way, it was a Daisieta means like of 7 in Spanish.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, go ahead.
It's
okay, Diciente. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Small 7 or something.
Yeah,
Up 7.
yeah.
Okay.
And it is a relatively small vehicle by comparison to some of the stuff that they try to use to stop it. Anyway, it unleashes this cosmic energy that's been around since before the plates stopped, finally settled into place, and all hell breaks loose.
One of my favorite things about, by the way, full disclosure, I have not finished the book yet. I'm not going to say I did not finish because that would be a DNF, and that's not what I'm going to finish it. I just haven't yet. But one of the great things is I don't know if it's a prologue or an introduction or I don't know what it's called, but it goes into one of my favorite thoughts. And if you're a Graham Hancock fan, first of all, I hope you like him because it's for the same reason that you like alien shows on the History Channel. Graham Hancock is not an archaeologist or a historian. He's a guy that doesn't think anybody but white people could do anything technological. So he comes up with all these harebrained theories about why there are pyramids and stuff like that. But anyway.
Yeah. Brown people can't do anything without white people.
But it's still fun to watch, by the way.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's good escapism.
But it gets into this thing that I've thought about. Like, what would happen? Just imagine this. What would happen if our current civilization, AI takes over, right? And let's say AI needs more and more energy, needs more and more matter to build machines for itself. Think Terminator, but take it to the next level. Think The Matrix, but take it to the next level. In order to continue propagating itself, it consumes all of our relics and all of our buildings and all of anything metal, anything plastic, anything wood, structures, everything.
Yes.
It just takes it over, right? And then in an attempt to fight back, the humans try to fight back. And then parts of the artificial intelligence try to fight back. But what ends up happening is it's able to contain this energy that is basically taking over and destroying the civilization. And it's able to build this thing, let's call it neutronium or something like that. It's able to build kind of a cocoon around it, but it's not able to kill it. So it just kind of builds a cocoon around it to contain it, right?
Yeah.
But there's no other evidence that there was ever a civilization here. And so many years pass, many decades, many millennia pass, and another life form sort of evolves, another intelligence sort of evolves. And a civilization grows. Well, this cocoon still exists. That's what happened here. And they talk about antediluvian times.
Yes.
But in this case, they talk about, like you said, like this is Pangea times, right?
This is the surface of the Earth was still hot time.
Yeah, and there was an intelligence, a whole civilization, so advanced that they developed this they develop artificial intelligence. Basically, he didn't call it that. I mean, this is during World War II, or just after World War II. So, but it develops it, and that it happens. There's this big fight, and then somehow it gets contained in a little cocoon, and civilization starts to develop again, and some tribes figure out something weird's going on, so they figure it's must be God, so they build a temple around it. Then that civilization goes away, falls into ruins, and then these guys are dropped off with their bulldozers to build an airstrip.
Yes.
While there's this thing there, you find all that out before you start reading the story, and I'm like, I love that setup.
Yeah, it's a nice little prologue.
Because he could have made the choice, and it probably would have been a longer novel, right? To just start with the building of the airstrip, and then weird stuff starts to happen, and you don't find out why it's happening until later.
Yeah.
So I thought that was awesome. I love that. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm gonna like this.
If you were to do this story today, another an easy way to do it, kids, think about nanobots.
Yeah.
Imagine like ancient nanobots being ratted away somewhere because they're carnivorous and they destroy and take over everything that they touch, but you manage to trap them in, like you said, neutronium, MacGuffinium, whatever.
Not to get too far off topic, but the thing that was making me just kind of blowing my mind about it was one of the books I read last year about AI and what the future may hold. That was one of the dangers they talked about.
Yes.
Is like a nanobot type thing being developed that its only instruction is propagate yourself.
Yes.
And they talk about how quickly, if somebody were to develop that, how quickly it could escape and basically take over the world, because it's going to devour any source of matter or energy that it needs to propagate itself, which would basically be everything. And then I'm like, this dude sitting there in 1950s, maybe he had read about AI or something, or more likely, the AI folks probably read Killdozer, and they're like, oh shit, that could happen.
I think too, that this, I don't have any evidence to back this up, but given the time period that it was written in, I wonder, I've read this 3 times, and I every time I wonder if maybe this was the, hold on, I have to protect my button from my cat. Maybe this was the inspiration for Transformers. Because in the Transformers mythology, there's this thing called the Allspark, and it's this energy that basically takes over, machinery and electronics and stuff like that. But the creator, instead of turning him into the all killing, all just wanting to kill machine, the individual machines have their own, values of good versus evil and etc. But so it's a wild guess, but I'm willing to bet that it might have played into it. And if I ever meet the guy that came up with the idea for the Transformers for that mythology, I'm gonna ask him, did you read Killdozer?
If you're watching, just let us know whether you read Killdozer as an inspiration.
Yeah. Something else I want to talk about with this story is the characters in this. They talk like people. Now, I have very limited exposure to reading Theodore Sturgeon. The sum total can be summed up in Killdozer. I have, to my knowledge, I haven't read any other Theodore Sturgeon.
You've only read 3 books by Theodore Sturgeon, and they're all Killdozer.
They're all Killdozer, yes. So I don't know if his dialogue is the same in everything, but these people, and it's why I think he did time on a construction site, because short of because he wanted to publish in a magazine, so you have to dial down the expletives a little bit. But short of foul language, which, having worked construction for umpteen years, it's true. This stuff reads. These guys talk like construction crews, and there's a great rapport between a couple of the characters that happens in construction crews. And then there's always like the weird one, in the construction crews.
Yeah.
And just the dialogue basically cracks like a whip. It sounds like real people talking. It's every bit as good as the prose, I feel.
There's also a belief amongst this crew, which is 100% accurate, 100% authentic to construction crews, that the way to get stuff done quicker is to take management out of the equation.
Exactly, because yes, because that's discussed early on by the two main characters.
Yep, they're like, interestingly, so World War II had just happened, and this takes place during or maybe shortly after the end. I'm not sure. World War II.
It's towards the end, but they're setting up because, if you know your history, which I know you do, the Pacific's a big ocean, and we needed fueling stations along the way.
Yes, you need to know your history to know that for sure. But they say, hey, usually we have to put the machinery together once it gets here, but everything came ready to run. Well, I mean, if they could do that with tanks, why can't they do it with this? So it's like using what they've learned from the war. I think the other thing learned from the war is probably early 20th century was kind of the dawn of professional management and scientific management. So it was still kind of clunky, especially, with private companies. Government was a little bit ahead. But I'm sure that these construction crews are like, I mean, there's no level of management when you land on the beaches of Normandy or the beaches of Iwo Jima. I mean, it's just the sergeant and his lieutenant, right? There's no timekeepers or clock watchers. So why do we need them to build an airstrip, right? And they were onto something, actually, and it would take another 40 or 50 years for people to start to realize empowering teams who are actually doing the work, empowering them is a way to get things done faster, sometimes higher quality, more cheaper, more efficiently. So they were actually onto something there.
Yes, as a youth working construction, as soon as the chief left, we actually got shit done.
Yeah, right.
11 years in the food service industry. On our worst nights, when we were slammed, management would come in to what's that word? Expedite, and everything we have piled up. And it wasn't until they got out of the kitchen that we got shit back together. So yeah, management just stepped out.
I'm from management, and I'm here to help. Oh no. The other sense I got was, this is not early 20th century, this is mid 20th century, but it still has that theme of technology progressing, and are we going too fast, and fear of technology. Not fear, but apprehension. So it felt like it had that theme as well.
Yeah. How far in did you get? Do you remember where you left off?
Yeah, the dude gets hurt really badly, and the guy comes back and tells part of the story, but not the whole story.
Yeah.
And because he knows
who's gonna believe it?
Because who's gonna believe me?
Yeah.
And then they're investigating, and they're like, oh, wait, it couldn't have happened the way that you said.
Yeah.
Right. And he starts to go, okay. And so it's starting to be revealed. I tell you, I started reading it and just kept getting bogged down because I assume that what they're saying is accurate, but I don't know, because I don't know machinery that well. And a lot of the stuff they're saying is just kind of going right over my head, right? And so I start to get lost they get into a lot of details about how the machines work and how they're using the machines and all that. And I just kept having to reread the same paragraph over and over. So I went ahead and found an audio version, and that's going better. But I didn't make that switch until like yesterday.
Did you find the audio version on YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
Bro, I'll put it down below for you kids. You know, the guy that narrated that book looked like this. And he was probably smoking in between, paragraphs.
Yeah.
Because he talks like so many dudes that I worked with. It'll make it go down, because I found it on a whim and played it the other day, and it's so good. I'll put it down below. I'll also, because the movie is on YouTube, I'll link that down there too if you guys want to have a good laugh. It's fun watching it, because I think like Robert Urich is in it. So like a young Robert Urich, and there's some other actors in there that you'll recognize. But that's off topic a little bit. But yeah, I think what he was trying to do was that thing that trying to make the characters seem like they know what they're talking about, so that and to show off what he learned. That way, the stuff that happens towards the end, these guys know what they're talking about, and were able to do what they had to do. And it was fun watching, reading. It was fun reading, like blue collar guys do engineer stuff, because a lot of times, you don't have to have a piece of paper hanging on your wall to let you know that you know what you're doing. Experience is a good teacher. There is an engineer in the group, but the rest of them aren't certified engineers and have to pull off some pretty amazing stuff to deal with Daisy Etta here.
I have my piece of paper from Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology showing that I'm a chemical engineer, or at least I have a bachelor's degree in chemical engineering. Isn't even hanging on my wall. But I did run across it in the closet the other day. It was underneath my two issues. Oh, it's three copies of The Zone.
Oh, it's laying. My Playboys are laying on top of it.
Exactly. Maybe I should hang it on the wall. But I can confirm that is not the thing that helps you. You got to rely. Engineers have to rely on the people actually with their hands on the machine.
Yeah. Or as my therapist once told me, all those things mean is I'm really good at taking tests. don't knock what you've learned. Don't short yourself.
Not to go down that rabbit hole, but the best engineers I've run across in my career are really good at asking questions and really good at listening.
Mm-hmm.
And the really good blue collar workers are the ones who are also good at asking questions and listening, recognizing that the engineer isn't useless. You just have to listen and ask good questions. Some engineers are useless, but some are really good because they've been trained in thinking about and solving problems and using whatever the latest science is on solving these problems. And really good blue collar workers know that, and they're like, I'm good at things you're not good at. You're good at things I'm not good at. We'll make a great team, right?
Well, that's right. So, what's gonna work? Teamwork. Well, okay, I don't know how far we want to go into the story then.
Well, having not finished it yet, there's no way I could spoil it, right?
Okay.
But I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say more and more weird stuff starts to happen until the point, and people are probably reluctant to believe it until finally the machines do something that you can't deny that they're doing, that the machines have a mind of their own, and they have to fight them and figure out a way to defeat the machines. And the only thing I don't know is whether they're successful at defeating them. You can leave that as as something that will be revealed to me, whether
to you and to anybody who wants to read it. So far, to my knowledge, we haven't really ruined the ending of any books.
Right.
Or if we did, it was just vague enough that we left out a lot of information. The funny thing about what you said, there's a point, and again, these guys talk like people, because at first they think somebody's killing somebody, because that just sounds too cockamamie.
Mm.
And then a couple of them just see it with their own eyes, and they're like, one of them like can't believe it, and the other one's like, it's right there. Do you have a better answer for what is going
Right.
on? So let's treat it like what it,
looks
regardless
like.
of how incredible it is. Let's just deal with it.
If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it may not be a duck, but you could probably kill it like as if it were a duck.
Yes.
That's my new do 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 do.
You may be able to kill it like a duck.
I'm gonna kill it as if it were a duck.
Yes.
Will it die like a duck? There you go. 3, 2, 1. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, wait, ducks don't talk. If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it'll probably die like a duck.
I believe that was originally the line in Predator about where it said, if it bleeds, we can kill it.
If it bleeds, we can kill it. The script actually said, if it walks like a duck and quacks
Yes.
like a duck, we can kill it like a duck.
We can kill it like a duck.
It'll die like a duck.
Well, again, I don't want to spoil it. I don't know where else you can find Killdozer. Other than, like I said, there's the audio book down, and I'll link down below. This is in the Complete Stories of Theodore Sturgeon, Volume 3, which I bought like 100 years ago, before Amazon was Amazon. It first appeared in Astounding Science Fiction in 1944, I believe. August of 1944, according to this awesome cover. I'll see if I
So
can
when you
get
said the 50s, you were talking about the movie.
No, he wrote it in the 40s. I misspoke.
Okay. All right, no problem.
But yeah, this awesome cover.
That's cool.
The movie came out in the early 70s.
Got it. What
But-
about the when I did a search on YouTube for Killdozer, I forgot, I neglected to put by Theodore Sturgeon, and so there were these news reports, and I seem to remember there was an actual real live dude that like stole a bulldozer or something, and similar to Tank, like the guy that drove a tank through town. This guy drove a bulldozer through a town, right?
Yes. Yeah. I remember when that happened. I can't give you the date on it because thanks to, all this 5 years ago, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, it's all the same. Might as well happened yesterday. I can't really, and it's not like we can, as your good friend Jason Pargin pointed out, it's not like we could pick it out of a news article based on fashion, because fashion hasn't changed since like 99. So
is that the early 2000s or last week?
Yes. I know you can probably find it on like in some form or another on like eBay or even Amazon, but I can't recommend this story enough. It makes me want to read more Sturgeon. Now, Sturgeon wrote science fiction, which is my least favorite genre, unless it's couched into horror, and then I'm all on board. But I think I might have to read some more.
So, Paul, out of 4 and 3 and 2 and 1, what do you give this one?
I give it a siete.
Siete. Yeah, I can't really rate it because I haven't finished it yet.
Right. All right. Well, that's gonna close the cover on this episode of the Don't Panic Radio Show, or as we like to call it, Check Your Shelf. If you've read Sturgeon, if you like him, hate him, favorite story, let us know down below. While you're down there, do all the YouTube things, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification so you don't miss a single video. Because we got a lot of stuff we're gonna do, and I don't want anybody to miss any of the craziness. So, I'm Paul.
I'm Steve.
And the next time you're looking for something to read,
check your shelf.
oh God, it's good to, yeah, the air has officially stopped moving in here now.